Grace and peace, y'all. It's Naraya again. How y'all doing? Hope y'all day is going well. Um, let's talk. Let's talk. And today I want to talk about listening to each other, uh, humanity as a whole, listening to each other, and why it's so important to do so. I looked up the definition of the word listen. One of the ones I like is make an effort to hear something, be alert and ready to hear something. Uh, Used to urge someone to pay attention to what one is going to say. And I like making an effort to hear something, making an effort to actually listen and hear what the other person is saying. Um, Listening is always important, whether things are somebody sharing a happy story, a scary, crazy story, listening. But I feel like where it matters most is when we're hurting, when we are in pain, when we are stressed, frustrated, traumatic experiences. That's where it matters most. The saying, people will forget your name, but they won't forget how you made them feel, because that matters, and that's where the kind of feelings and emotions match up with listening, because we all want to feel seen and we all want to feel heard. And I think we've gotten to a time where we all kind of close ourselves off to each other because maybe in the past we weren't seen and heard. So we put a wall up. We put this wall up to protect ourselves from being hurt and having hurt feelings, when the solution really is that we need to be more open to listening to one another. Um, let's get into it. Let's get into the Word of God. Word of God. Um, let's go to James chapter 1, verse 19. I hope you can hear the wind is blowing, so I'm sure the audio is gonna go in and out. But we gonna ride this thing out, okay? Y'all know this is very natural. We just gonna we just gonna roll, okay? Um, Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. Let me go back to verse 19 again. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. Swift to hear is first. Let's get that down. Swift to hear is first, because we can't be too full of ourselves, like we know all the answers and we just have so much wisdom and so much knowledge, and I just got to share it and I just got to run my mouth. Sometimes the biggest strength you can have is being quiet and listening. So being swift to hear in conversation with people, you're not so ready to just respond. Like some people will listen just to respond. You are being patient, you are being calm, and you are waiting. That's why it's swift to hear. You're waiting to just hear and listen. Listen to the other party. What they're saying matters too. If you feel like what you're saying matters, what they say matters too, then, right? We all human here. We got to deal with each other on that same level. Slow to speak. Let me let you finish before I want to respond. I'm not going to cut you off. I'm not going to, be elsewhere in la la land while you're talking. And then, oh yeah, so like I was saying, like, no, you got to be willing to hear and not be so ready to respond right away. And then slow to wrath. And I think a lot with slow to wrath is to get angry with, whatever the issue is going on, and so ready to give your 2 cents and your opinion. And I think about kids with that. Uh, we say that we love our children, we want them to come to us if there's ever any issue. But if they come to you and you ain't listening, and your response is, I'm gonna attack you, rah, like you did this wrong, rah 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 rah. Do you think they're gonna come to you again? This is a formula for how we deal with each other as a whole, especially. And as adults, what we are is based on our childhoods. So that's why they always talk about that with therapy, because it does matter. The way you were raised up in your childhood makes you the adult that you are today. So in doing that, just alone with children, you do want to listen to them, to show them that what you're going through matters to me, and I want to hear about it. And I'm going to be swift to hear, and I'm going to be slow to speak, and I'm going to be slow to wrath. Even if your children do something that is bad that they should have did, get all that out first. Get that swift to hear and slow to speak out first, and slow to wrath. Like, let them get it all out, and then you be calm and patient with your response to them. And that's dealing with children. Now bringing it up to, adults, having conversation, whatever, that could be the same thing, that maybe somebody did something that you didn't like, so you want to just lash out and be angry. But this is part of having a temperate spirit, which is one of the fruits of the spirit, is temperance. Having a balance about your spirit, being calm in conversation. And the first thing is being swift to hear, slow to speak. Sometimes in conversation it's so important to just listen. And sometimes I be feeling bad that I don't always have things to say, or I feel like it's not really important to say. So I'm like, I don't have nothing important to say. I'm not going to say nothing. A lot of times being on the end of that, the other end being the listener, is therapeutic, is good vibes. Just being there as this kind of receptacle for that other person. Like I said, especially when they're going through something. You never want to think about yourself. If you were going through something traumatic, would you want to try to bring it to a friend or family member and their response is like, quick, cut you off? I can't talk right now. I don't want to hear that right now. Go. I don't want to hear that right now. Imagine how that would make you feel. So in doing that, think about how you got to do that with others. That brings me to what verse did I want out of here? I done saved these verses and I forgot where I was going. That's my memory. Matthew 7. There we go. I was like, I know I got it right. I just, where was I going with this? Matthew chapter 7, verse 12. Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Summed up, love your neighbors, you love yourself. How would you feel if somebody was in this situation and you were on the other end? You know what I'm saying? So when somebody comes to you and they want to talk, imagine how that would make you feel. If you feel like you really want to talk to somebody and they quickly cut you off. Or they pretend like they listen and they really not. You really have to give full attention, if possible, if at all possible. Sometimes, maybe you're driving so you can't like focus and eye contact and all that stuff, but understand how you would want to be heard. And you're going to make sure that you listen to others. Being able to vent is, I said before in another video, is very therapeutic. I'm kind of trying to wait for the wind to stop because I don't know if it's messing with the audio or not. We are complex being with complex emotions. Sometimes we get filled with negative emotions. Sometimes there's situations, there's issues, there's, somebody could have cut you off at a red light. Somebody could have bumped into you at the store. That happened to me before. We at the checkout line, let me tell you. So we're at Walmart. Walmart is 90% self-checkout now. We us and computers. That's the life we live in now. We deal with computers now everywhere. We just kind of wait in the line to go. This lady pushes past me. When I say push, she bumped into me. And she knows she did. It wasn't no like quick little arm rub. She literally, not bust my shoulder. I'm like, rude as hell. And then her daughter apologized to me. They were both adults. Her daughter apologized to me. I said, don't apologize to me. It wasn't you. You didn't do it. Apologizing for your mama. She needs to apologize. What was I talking about? Why did I tell that story? Oh, getting pissed off. Yeah, so that angered me. So it filled me with negative emotions. So what did I do? I began venting to my husband. I can't believe people. It's good that we have a way to express that negativity out of us. And that's not just to say it's just verbal. Sometimes you can be angry, write it down, type it up on a computer, but just get it out of you and onto something else. And as part of being humans and being human with each other, having that humanity with one another is being there to listen when somebody needs that. Somebody needs to do that. They need to release that. They need to get that out of them. Just listen. And listening really ain't that hard, y'all. For us to be so unwilling to do it with each other. Hear where somebody coming from. Again, I talk about social media a lot because there's great things on social media. Don't get me wrong. There's great things that bring us together. I love the videos where it kind of talks about everyday life and the stuff that we do, funny videos, and it's like we all really live in the same life. I seen a comment before. It was like we all live the same life now if we could just get along. I'm like, indeed, okay. But social media can be great, but for the most part, it's whack because it divides us. And in doing so with social media, like I said before, we assume things about each other. And so somebody might post a video or say something and people just go attacking in the comments, attacking people in the comments. And it's like, and sometimes if we could just hear each other and listen to where each other's coming from, that's half the battle right there. That would remove that variance, that would remove that uh, combat within ourselves. And it's funny because a lot of times when people go arguing in the comments, the person that made the video said something in the video that they addressed or they wrote it down like in the description. It's like, well, if you would have listened to the video, if you would have read what I said, you wouldn't be coming at me like that. So it gets back to just listening. We all live different lives. We are all so special, and special things happen to us. That's how we can connect, is when we listen to each other. Um, People's stories on what they've been through, what they're currently going through. Um, it's where I think we fall short in that is our elderly community. We don't we don't love on them enough. We always talk jokes. I mean, there's jokes for everything and everybody. There's jokes for women, jokes for men, jokes for kids, because it's just who we are. So it's humor. It's great. But I don't think we utilize them enough. They've lived longer than us. You know what I'm saying? 60, 70, 80, 90, sometimes years old. We don't utilize them enough for their wisdom that they can bring. And in utilizing them is just listening to them. Why do you think they always want to tell stories for 3 hours? 'Cause they don't got nobody to talk to. They don't got nobody that'll listen to them. So why don't we do that? Let's do that for each other. There's so much wisdom you can learn in just hearing a story from an elderly person. Stuff you knew about. They tell you they was, in the military. They tell you they used to be a scammer. They be telling you they used to travel the world. Like, just these amazing stories that happen in these people's lives. And you would never know if you didn't just sit and listen. They're very, very fundamentally underutilized in this society. And you're going to hear me talk about society a lot because it's based on the devil. Satan rules in this society. Um, we have this idea of value on people. So if you're not self-sufficient enough or normal, you're viewed as less valuable. So elderly people, they move a little slower because their bodies are older. They might talk a little slower. They might take a little longer to do things. So we're just so impatient that we just don't want to deal with them. Y'all be over there. Can't use you. Be over there. Children, they things themselves yet, depending on their age. They need to be taught. So that's too hard. Y'all just be over there. We don't want you. We just want them normal adults in everyday life. And guess why they want you? To work. That's all they want you for. They don't love you. They don't care for you. They just want what you and your mind and your body can do for them to continue to push this society. So just, that was a long rant. I kind of diverted a little bit, but in just listening to each other, and that matters. I want you to think about a time. Think about a time that you went through something traumatic or something hurtful or something painful. Think about your circle. Was anybody there to support you? And if they were, how was it? Probably 80% of the time I can tell you it was just the fact that they were there for you. Why do you think in death, when people pass on, families come around, friends come around, people are there, they're at the house with you because they're there to support you and be there for you. Listening, being a part of that. They don't even, sometimes I never know how to deal with people when people pass. I'm so strapped for words, and I'm never good with words. So I try to just be there, be present. What do you need? You need something from me? Well, okay, I'll be over here if you need anything. And then when you're ready and willing to open up and talk, the person that was there for you, that conversation mattered to you, didn't it? You felt good in that conversation, didn't you? Being able to get that out, to cry. They say, you have a shoulder to cry on. Somebody that's there for you. That kind of goes into listening too, just being there, giving that ear, giving that shoulder to cry on, being a support to other human beings. I feel like I want to talk about that more too. The negatives of life or the downs of life. I think sometimes we don't talk about it enough in a good way. Let me say that, because you'll have the thing that, like, titles for everything: toxic positivity and toxic negativity. I don't know if that's actually a thing, but sometimes when we can focus on only one aspect of ourselves, when we are both of those things, we are ups and we are downs, we are positives and we are negatives. So life is both. So I think I want to start talking more too about the down things in life, the things that make us feel like crap sometimes. Because when we talk about it, it makes us feel less alone, that we can share that with other people. And it's not to talk about it to be depressed and talk about it to, I'm just going to stay in this rut, I'm going to be in this rut, and I'm going to share it with you because I want you to be miserable too. What I want to talk about with the darkness of life, the light and the darkness of life, we all go through darkness sometimes. It's not foreign. It's not something to be afraid of. It's a part of us, and it's a part of our life. So if we never talk about it, when you feel it, you're like, I can't tell anybody this. I'm going through this alone. Nobody would understand me. Do you know, we would, if we just talk to each other and we just listen to each other, we would realize how much we have in common. This life be life for all of us. It looks different in the challenges. It looks different, but we could still be there for one another. And that brings up to another point, the struggle Olympics. People be going through struggle Olympics. I don't get it. I don't get the need to one up each other and struggle. Dang, I had a hard day with the kids today. Well, I got in a car accident and I broke my arm. And the other one's like, well, my dog died. And then somebody else is like, well, my grandmother passed. And it's like, you want a trophy? Life is hard on us all. We shouldn't go up to each other with a measuring stick. Like, no, well, my life's harder. My life's tougher than yours. So you get your reward, because that's what you get. Because what good is that? What benefit does that do for your life? You know how it benefits us? Bringing us together. Being there for one another. Talking to each other. Listening to each other. And like I said in the beginning, a lot of it It's us not talking to each other because we're afraid to open up. If you open and have a listening ear, it would allow people to open up, thus creating this beautiful cycle of humanity. And I hate that I keep using that word, but love. Jesus Christ. As you can see, every single conversation I've had, Jesus Christ is in the center. His love matters. His love growing within us uh, helps us love ourselves and then love each other. And in loving each other, we talk to each other. We listen to each other. Like I said, when things are good, it's great to share, but it's just mostly focusing on when things are bad, when things are hard. That's when you know your people. When you be like, you was there for me. And in that, sometimes just listening. Not even needing a rebuttal. Some people don't always want advice when they're going through something. They just want to be heard. You feel so important. You just feel like you matter. And the beautiful thing about God is that he loves us no matter what. That's unconditional love. He loves us whether we're doing good, whether we in sin and we just put the middle finger up to him, like whatever. He still loves us. When we good, bad, ugly of life, he still loves us. So when you realize that you matter in the Lord, that fills you. So take that and then bring it, the love of God, and then love with other humans, loving your neighbor as you love yourself. So you feel whole with the Lord seeing you. And now you feel whole with your other humans seeing you, acknowledging you, listening to you, understanding that your experiences matter. All of our experiences matter. I'm going to talk more about my time in a mental hospital, but I remember being in there and I'm like, these other people in here, they look just like me, they acting just like me. And I remember thinking, I'm like, everybody has a story. Everybody really does. Our entire life is a story. It's our own personal story. Like the struggle Olympics, it's not about whose story is better and more interesting and more scary and more. None of that matters. But being able to share our stories with each other, that's what social media should be for. And some people do use it that way, which is incredibly beautiful to see the things going on in people's lives and they're open to share and they do it to bring people together. So just being open and willing to share each other's stories and be a part of each other's stories. And just to read again, Matthew 7 and 12. Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. And the law and the prophets summed up in love your neighbor as you love yourself. Pause before responding. Pause before, as soon as somebody come to you with something, don't just be so quick to cut them off. Pause and think, like, how would I feel if somebody did this to me? It wouldn't feel good. So just think on that. We're going to end it here. Just some words of encouragement for the human race. We got to love on each other. Part of listening to is if they do want advice or they do want you to respond or whatever, actually listen to what they said. Don't just sum it up based on what your feelings are. Really listen to what they said. And be very calm and wise in your response. If somebody's really telling you that they're going through something, feeling depressed or whatever, you ain't depressed, you all right, go outside, whatever. Like, don't do that. Sadly, that's where people commit, I don't think I could say this word online anymore, they've just destroyed vocabulary, unalive themselves because they didn't feel heard. I can't say that's the case for everybody, but they feel alone. So remember that when just dealing with each other. We all live in this life together. It'd be life in, and we all doing this together. So walk in love. It's just always Christ showed us what it looks like to love each other, follow his examples, be there for each other, listen to each other, provide support when needed. You know what I'm saying? And listening could just be like, dang, I'm going through something. I can't make it to the daycare to get my kids or whatever. I can go get them for you. Listening and then action behind it. And like I said, it's not always action. Sometimes it's just the fact of listening. Just the fact that you care enough to hear what's going on in my life. So remember that. Love on each other. Love on each other. Love the Heavenly Father. Love Jesus Christ. And love one another. And I say peace to you. I hope you have a good day.